It was last month, September 11, I stood in front of the new U.S. Embassy on the Malecon in Havana, Cuba. Some of you probably saw that on the news, right? Did you see that? Well, it was nice to see the U.S. flag there. It was nice to see that things are perhaps beginning to change in the country of Cuba. Then I walked around the side of the embassy, and I noticed that there was a line about 3 blocks long of people waiting to get into that embassy to try to get permission to come to the United States. And across the street from that long line was an even larger group of people waiting to find out what happened when their friends and relatives came out of the embassy. So there's certain things that you see and certain things you don't see about what's happening in Cuba. Normally the news doesn't carry what's happening in the church. And from my perspective, after Maranatha's worked there for over 21 years, that's what's important. Because even though Cuba is still officially an atheistic country, I can tell you that God is there. Nobody told the people that God wasn't there. And I can tell you that now, today, there's over 30,000 Seventh-day Adventists that worship each week. And that's exciting. Even though they're losing to other countries, people are choosing to move to other countries, even out of the church, there's still over 30,000 Seventh-day Adventists. And I'm really pleased with that. The seminary has 170 students from 9 countries, and they're doing a great work there. And we're excited about that. But the reason I stand up here today to talk about Cuba, many of you have been following Cuba for the last several years, especially in relationship to the Cardenas project that was just talked about on the video. This is a project that was requested 20 years ago. Now, I've worked with Maranatha a lot of years, but I've never waited 20 years for a permit. Have you waited 20 years for a permit for any of your projects? This was a tough one. And we finally got the permit, and then other issues came up. And we still have not started the work in Cardenas. Sad, isn't it? Well, that's about to change. I got to tell you that the crew is going to Cardenas this coming Monday morning to start the foundations. So, there were a number of times when I felt that we should pull from that project. It's the only place that I've ever gone and had to tell them that we were not going to be able to continue with the project and had the audience, the entire church, start to cry. Wouldn't you like that? You start to talk to a group of people and they all start crying? That was tough. But now they're going to have their church, and God must have something major in mind. Because if you wait that long, and the people have prayed, some of them with calluses on their knees, you've seen the pictures, some of you, that this would happen, and we're just really excited about it. In Cuba, when you go to church, it's a participatory event. Do you know what amen sounds like in Spanish? Yeah, amen. I can tell you that if you go to Cuba, and you go to church, you're going to say, wow, where's all that noise coming from? The pastor says something and the whole group says, amen. Let's get the accent right. The whole church says, amen. Amen. And it's exciting, it's invigorating, it's powerful. And I can tell you that this Sabbath, they were just informed a couple hours ago that the construction was to begin on Monday. And what sound do you think they made? Amen. Amen. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful church. And I can tell you that those people that are members of that church are simple, humble, God-fearing people who believe deeply in their hearts, and they know for a certainty that we are nearing home. And when you live in Cuba, that reality runs deep into your soul. And we are so excited to be able to work there. And we will continue to keep you informed on that exciting project. And eventually, the Cardenas people, the other churches that we've been able to build there, all together will say, Amen. We are nearing home.